Molly, for more on how the candidates are responding to the attack on Israel, we're joined now by Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel. Ronna, I want to pick up where Mark left off his reporting there, which is many of the candidates are putting the onus on Joe Biden, on President Biden in the White House. And actually in an RNC statement you put out, you guys say that you blame Joe Biden for unfreezing $6 billion for Iran and reiterated you're standing behind Israel. Can you expand on your thoughts there?
Absolutely. I think this is a great opportunity for our candidates to contrast where Republicans have stood with Israel time and time again, and Joe Biden has been weak. And when America is weak, the world is less safe. We're seeing this not just with the war in Ukraine and with an emboldened China, but now with an attack on Israel. Let's not forget that it was on 9/11, just less than a month ago, when Joe Biden refused to go to any of the 9/11 sites, that he announced that he was giving $6 billion to Iran. This is what he did. That was his priority. And now we are seeing the biggest funder of Hamas, Iran, getting money from the United States of America. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think we have to go too far to connect the dots that now Hamas has attacked Israel. This is falling squarely on the shoulders of Joe Biden. It took him 45 minutes to respond. And I think every Republican candidate needs to point out the distinction between our foreign policy and our interest in national security for the United States and the world versus the failure of Joe Biden. And I think all of it stems back to the failed withdrawal out of Afghanistan.
Ronna, obviously Americans are worried about their pocketbooks, inflation killing them, the border, which I've covered extensively, obviously a top issue. But do you believe now with this attack we're witnessing, and just so our viewers understand the significance of how big this attack was, a multi-front land infiltration of Israeli towns and territory, along with 2,000, 3,000 missiles launching, unprovoked attack on civilians in Israel. Do you believe this issue will now move to the top of concerns for the candidates on the campaign trail?
Well, I certainly think it will elevate. You know, Griff, we know this, right? As campaigns unfold, there are always unexpected events that happen that change the course of a campaign. And when you compound the failed withdrawal out of Afghanistan, when you look at Obama and Biden's Defense Secretary Gates, who said Biden got it wrong every time when it came to foreign policy, when you see an emboldened China, when you see what's happening with Ukraine, there is no question that Americans who are feeling less safe at home economically, certainly on the streets with crime rising, but now are saying he's not only a failure domestically, he's a failure when it comes to foreign policy, and our country is less safe because we have such a weak leader in Joe Biden.
All right, RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, thank you. We had so many political things to talk to you about. Obviously, this is the story of the day. Always great to have your insight. Thank you, Ronna.
Thank you, and we stand with Israel. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
All right, for more reaction to this developing story, we're joined now by Republican Congressman from Tennessee and member of the House Oversight Committee, Tim Burchett. Congressman, thank you for taking time. Quickly, let's get your reaction to what we are all waking up to and seeing on our televisions today.
Well, this is 100% being pulled off by Iran. You know, we freed up the Biden administration, unfortunately, freed up about $6 billion and virtually green-lighted their nuclear attempts. I think we better be very cautious about what's going on. We need to be totally in support of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. And I think we're going to get ready to see how Israel will defend itself, and they will do a very good job at that.
Hey, Congressman, it's already been talked about, the reaction from Washington. We now, in the light of what we're watching in Israel, it underscores the national security concerns with the legislative branch essentially paralyzed without a House Speaker for a prolonged time. You played a part of ousting Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir. We followed the rules, and those rules were even voted on by Kevin McCarthy. We still have the executive branch, which feels free to put money where it needs to be. And I don't think that, do you honestly think we're going to run down to Washington this weekend and pass legislation and take care of something in Israel? It's already in place. I think that's just muddy in the waters, and I don't think that's very accurate in the assumption, not throwing any cold water on you, but that is not even in the realm of reality.
Listen, I appreciate the conversation, but to push back on that, you effectively have the legislative branch of government paralyzed because you don't have a House Speaker. You're not going to have one for a prolonged period of time, and then no bills can come to the floor. And in light of what is clearly an escalating Middle East crisis, I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we should have all branches of our government functioning at 100%. In this case, with the House, it's the only one controlled by Republicans.
Yes, sir. Well, as you know, the Senate is not meeting this weekend either. And by Wednesday, we'll be united around a speaker. And this will just be something in our rearview mirror. I can assure you of that, because the Republican Party and Congress will be united in our support of Israel. So that doesn't bother me one bit. I think we'll be in good shape. Like I said, Senate is not meeting this weekend either, and it, and nothing moves through the legislative process. It moves like a glacier. So I think we're going to be okay. And we've also already funded Israel, I believe around $3 billion, and so right. I believe they're going to be okay.
Well, and I appreciate your point on the funding, and Israel does not ask the U.S. for much more than support. We obviously do not send troops of that like. But just in the last 30 seconds, it's unclear that Patrick McHenry, the pro tem, will even be briefed. And while you say there's no meeting this weekend, there's clearly going to be briefings on what's happening, because this appears, by all accounts, to be an unbelievable failure of intelligence to not have seen this coming. Your thoughts, if you have any insight on whether Patrick McHenry, the pro tem, can be briefed on a matter like this? And are you concerned that there was a failure of intelligence here?
I'm not that concerned. That's Israel's business. They generally take care of their own, and I can assure you they're going to take care of this. And I'm not sure what Patrick McHenry's role would be, even if he was speaker in this. We're going to issue our condemnation of these terrorist thugs? Well, obviously we will. But anything that happens will be it would take, it's going to take a week anyway. And by Wednesday we'll have a speaker, and again we'll be back in business.
A last question with the 10 seconds I've got, Congressman. Have you announced who you will support for Speaker?
I'm just not supporting myself. Being one of the 8, I believe, when you endorse, all you do is pick up enemies, not friends, just like a debate. You bring your side, I bring my side, and we both leave thinking we won. So I don't think that's going to do any good at all. I've talked to the candidates, and I will make that decision this week.
All right, Congressman Tim Burchett, thank you for taking time, and thank you for your insight, sir.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.